What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Monday Mail Day. Now, I got back home late last night from covering the GENNADY Golovkin and all guys fight with Dominic Wade. I didn't get home till late, so I'm gonna try to jam through this Monday Mail Day. It might not be as long because I got a ton of stuff, a lot of stuff to really work on and upload. So we'll see. Let's get into it. First question is from Chris Jackson. ERISLANDY Lara versus GENNADY Golovkin at 160. Who would you pick to win and why? I would pick Triple G to beat ERISLANDY Lara. I think Triple G does pretty good with that type of style. Guys who offer movement. I think he actually prefers that as opposed to guys who, I think the best way to beat Triple G is to someone with power he respects and to walk him down and make him fight off the back foot. But if you can't do that and can't sustain that, then it's going to be hard. It's an uphill battle. Plus, he has more experience, obviously. He's fought for the last decade or whatever at 160. ERISLANDY Lara, I haven't seen him up there. I've seen him hurt in the, I think he got hurt in the Vanes Matarosan fight, a guy with power. And I think, I know he got hurt in the Angulo fight. Angulo's more of a pressure style, like a non-stop, willing to take 5 punches to get off one type of guy. But Golovkin's good at cutting off the ring and stuff like that. So I would favor GENNADY Golovkin. However, big however, unlike some people, I don't make excuses like when it came time to see Triple G versus Andre Ward, because I believe Andre Ward would have beat Golovkin at 168. I don't make excuses because of my prophecy or because of my fight prediction. I still wanted to see that fight because I know there's a chance I could be wrong. Same thing with ERISLANDY Lara versus Triple G. ERISLANDY Lara is a solid name, a Cuban background. He's been on HBO pay-per-view. In fact, his fight with Canelo on HBO pay-per-view did better numbers than Golovkin's pay-per-view fight. So, needless to say, even though I would pick Golovkin to beat Lara, I would still love to see it. And I think that's still a step-up competition. It's still a more difficult style matchup than a guy like Dominic Wade, who nobody really gave a shot to beat Triple G. I didn't, well, at least if anyone did, I didn't see any comments explaining how Dominic Wade was going to beat Triple G, like what he brought into the fight. They didn't cite like, oh, he looked great in Sam Solomon, you know what I mean? I wasn't seeing that. I wasn't seeing intelligent breakdowns. The only thing I was seeing is anti-Golovkin fans maybe wishful thinking. So again, ERISLANDY Lara versus Triple G, good fight at 160. I would favor Triple G, but the proof is in the pudding. I still want to see it. Next question is from Josea Cuervo. Who can Triple G fight for people to respect? I see that Birdman reference. His name, put some respect on it. Ultimately, I've said it, I'm going to keep saying it. He has to fight a big name with some momentum. Guys like Canelo, he only lost once, and that was to Floyd Mayweather. You can argue the ERISLANDY Lara, but on his record it says he beat ERISLANDY Lara. So, and it was a competitive fight anyway. It wasn't like the Mayweather where it was just a complete shutout. So, a guy like Canelo, a champion like Billy Joe Saunders, an interim champion like Danny Jacobs, maybe moving up in weight, fighting a James DeGale, Badu Jack, Gilberto Ramirez. Those are the types of people because they pose at least some level of threat. Guys at 168 are probably going to be taller and or bigger than Golovkin. So, that's going to be a threat. James DeGale has an Olympic gold medal. Gilberto Ramirez, I met him. I'm taller than him, but he's like 6'2.5", 6'3". So he would be giving up some height. And it's a guy who with the power who showed some boxing movement and stuff. And is Arthur Abram, another power guy, not necessarily where Golovkin's at right now with his momentum, but either way, he looked good against Arthur Abram. So he really has to fight one of those types of people. And I think people are pretty fed up with the Dominic Wades, the Adamas, and the guys, Willie Monroe, you know what I mean, just the guys, the Rosados, people they don't think have any shot in hell to beat them, the 50, the 80 to 1 underdog type of guys. So for respect, as you put it, those are kind of guys that he has to fight. Maybe even a Peter Quillen, who even though he lost, I mean, it's still a big guy with power, with some names on his resume. I think those are the types of fights that will give him some more credit. And Simple and a bunch of ones says, what is your thoughts on people saying that Roman is ducking Estrada now that he is moving up in weight? P.S. Do you think that Roman and Rigo could fight at a catchweight sometime in the future? Thanks for all your hard work, Ego, or your work, Ego, best YouTube around. Now, I was at the post-fight obviously because I covered the Triple G Wade fight. They said they're going to fight another fight at the current weight division and then move up. So just a clarification. So I don't think he's ducking Estrada unless it's all said and done and he just says, hey, you know what, I'm not sticking around, I'm moving up in weight. So they talked about the Estrada fight. Make sure you guys check out that post-fight final press conference for more information on that. He needs to fight Estrada because that's the only real name that, there's a Japanese guy also, but those are the only two names that people probably would give a chance to pull an upset at this current division. So the first fight was competitive. A lot of people like Estrada's work. So those are the fights. I mean, if he's going to stick around instead of milking it, you know what I mean, he needs to fight someone real, and I think that's a test. So I don't think he's moving up. According to his team, he's not moving up straight away. He's going to fight another fight at his current division. So we'll have to see what he does, wait and decide to do, him and his team. Roman versus Rigo is definitely a fight that they should be building, and I think could happen in the future. Rigondeaux, a lot of people want him to go up to featherweight and all this and that. He's a small dude. And the funny thing is, I think Rigo can have success beating featherweight, to be honest, just based on skill alone. Guys like Floyd Mayweather and Rigondeaux, they can excel and move up and fight bigger, stronger guys based on their skill set and their style. So, truth be told, he's a small dude, though. He's not big. If you look at him next to Donaire, he looked like a kid brother, a baby or something. So, I think a Chocolatito fight could happen. I don't know if Chocolatito's team would want that because that's a very difficult fight. And we just seen a guy with a year layoff give Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez a very competitive fight where he started off really strong and he kind of faded a bit towards the later rounds. And that was a guy on a year layoff with I think he had 2 losses. So Rigondeaux has no losses and maybe not as long of a layoff. He just fought on the COTTO Canelo undercard, and he would probably fight again before something like this would happen. So very dangerous fight for Chocolatito, especially with the experience and style and the ability of Rigondeaux, because the guy he fought, Arroyo, is nowhere near Rigondeaux in my opinion. He was tough, but he doesn't have the sniper-like precision punching, the power of Rigondeaux. I don't believe he was a southpaw. He's not agile, and I mean, that's the Jackal we're talking about. So difficult fight for Chocolatito at this, and that showed you, you know what I mean, his knockout streak ended. The guy that gave him some resistance and was tough, and he went the distance with. So, you know what I mean, imagine a Rigondeaux. Plus, you'd have to worry about possibly being gun shy as you're fighting a guy who has more experience at higher divisions than you, even at a catchweight, right? And you have to deal with everything he's given to you, kind of like Joseph Igbeko. And I'm not saying Chocolatito is Igbeko, because obviously he's rated higher, undefeated and stuff like that, but it's amazing what will happen when you start getting clipped with shots that you don't see coming. It'll make you gun shy when you get in there with precision punchers. Look at Canelo versus Floyd. Look at Donaire versus Rigondeaux and Igbeko. There's a reason these guys become economical. Pacquiao versus Floyd. There's a reason for that, and it's that accuracy. Next question, Boxing Mouth. Ego, 2 questions. 1, do you think Adrien Broner should fight Kell Brook? No, I think he would probably get destroyed. I don't think welterweight is his best division. You know, I don't know if his body is fully acclimated. I think more or less it's because his habits outside of the ring, maybe ballooning up in weight off season, things like that. It's kind of forcing him to move up from 140 because he wasn't as disciplined when he should have been. So I don't want to see the Kell Brook fight. I think I'd rather see Kell Brook fight Porter Thurman winner, Earl Spence, you know what I mean, a certified welterweight. Danny Garcia is a good fight. Jesse Vargas is a good fight. Those are both good fights, more winnable, more competitive fights that I would love to see from Broner at welterweight. Number 2, which weight class do you think Mikey Garcia is going to come back to, 135, 40, or 47? From what his brother says, I believe I seen an interview, and Robert Garcia said that he would be fighting at 140. So I'm going to go with that. I said 140 would be the weight that Mikey Garcia comes back to. Next question is from Oscar Martinez. Love the channel. Keep on making great videos. How do you rate this weekend's fights, boxing and UFC? And do you think we could see Cotto versus Lara in the future? Cotto Lara, I don't think it'll happen. I think right now Cotto's kind of on the businessman tip, where he's accomplished so much, deep resume, and he's just looking for, I'm not going to say easy fights, but if it's going to be a difficult fight, he wants to get cashed out. Like COTTO versus Canelo Part 2, I think could happen, and I think that would happen before COTTO versus Lara. Lara brings less money to COTTO than a Canelo bout would, a rematch, and it's probably more of a tricky style, a tricky south. I mean, you've seen COTTO versus Austin Trout when he was undefeated. Imagine Lara, a guy who beat Austin Trout. And I don't do the triangle theories, I'm just saying Lara arguably shouldn't have any losses on his record. Paul Williams, that was a robbery. Canelo, a lot of people think that was a robbery. So, you know what I mean? Lara, he's just a difficult style. He's bigger than COTTO. He's a southpaw. His left hand is from hell. It's not a good look. So I don't really see that happen. I would love to, as a boxing fan, love to see it because of the two names. But I just don't think. I think COTTO and Rock Nation are probably looking towards more guys that will bring him big money if he's going to take that type of risk, or more winnable fights. So that's just my opinion. UFC, I didn't watch it this weekend, so I don't really know what happened in the I know the outcome, I read about it, but I didn't see it, so I can't really speak on the John Jones fight. Boxing, I enjoy myself. I covered the fight live. Golovkin versus Wade, Chocolatito. Again, like I said in the last question, Chocolatito, I'm not gonna say he struggled a bit. He clearly won the fight, but did he win as impressively as he's been projected to win? Probably not. You know what I mean? A guy coming off a year layoff with losses before this. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. And this is what's wrong with when I made the ESPN response video where ESPN ranked him top 25 of all time in the last 25 years. This is the problem, because the top 25 of all time beating guys like Miguel Cotto, you know what I mean? With Cotto, when he was at 135, 140 or whatever, would he have, if there was an Arroyo type of opponent, would he have stopped them? Most likely. You know what I'm saying? Look at Cotto versus Torres. He got hurt in that fight and came back to stop him. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that's why I think it's all premature for ESPN to do that. But nonetheless, he won. I think he deserved to win. It's not like it was a robbery, but he had a little bit more trouble. The opponent was probably tougher than for someone who's pound for pound top 25 of the last 25 years. And that's just my honest opinion. Triple G handled his business, to be expected. Most people didn't know much about Dominic Wade, but he blew him out. And that's what you're supposed to do. A guy that we've never heard of, you're supposed to just bomb him out and say, hey, you're nowhere near my level. Get him out of here. And that's what Triple G did. And then he called out Canelo. So, I mean, I got to give him props for at least doing that. You know what I mean? Because I've seen guys get in there with guys that were projected to win, and they're in tough fights. So at least Triple G is bombing out the guys who aren't on his level. Next question is from TSeb321. Hey, Ego, do you hear the rumors of Mayweather coming back in September? Yes. It's maybe against Danny Garcia. If it's true he's coming, is there any opponents you would like to see TB square off against besides Danny? Keep up the good work, Ego. Always like watching your videos. Big fan from New Zealand. Yeah, I would like to see KELL, BROOK, and Mayweather. Bradley, maybe. I don't know, because he lost twice to Pacquiao. In my opinion, he lost 3 times to Pacquiao. It still could be a fun fight, and that's Pacquiao, not Mayweather. So something like that, or the Porter Thurman winner. Those are the fights that I probably want to see the most if it's going to be at welterweight. Next question is from the Overman. What's Ego? I don't know what that. What's up, I guess. What is the chance that Triple G and James DeGale will fight at 168? I predict that Triple G will fight Ramirez. Not really the best at 168, but he will still avoid the fight matchups at 168. Yeah, I think Triple G and team, when it comes to 168, I think they're going to be very selective. If they feel a guy is a big name, regardless of how, I mean, because it's not like Gilberto Ramirez. He was on True TV just recently, and then he was on a Pacquiao undercard. He's not. It wasn't like he was the main event for HBO pay-per-view. So before that, he was on True TV. So I don't really know how big of a star he is. He has somewhat of a cult following. He's a champion now, but I think it's the perception is that he's an up-and-coming, rising star, future star. Bob Arum tossed out the bait and said, hey, I want to make a Triple G versus Ramirez fight. So I think they would as soon take that. Triple G's team would as soon take that over a guy like James DeGale, Olympic gold medalist, on the Al Heyman side of things, more things to negotiate, and most likely a more dangerous fight for Triple G. So I think they're trying to go kind of where, if it's at 168, I think they're trying to go where the money's at and something that's probably the easier fight, because they've made it abundantly clear they want to get all the belts at 160. So if they're going to go up to 168 in the near future, I just see them picking a fight that they feel Triple G has a good chance of winning, as opposed to going in with a guy who has a higher medal than Triple G. Triple G is a silver medalist in the Olympics. James DeGale is a gold medalist. So clearly, since if you had the choice, if Team Triple G, this is my opinion, Team Triple G had the option of fighting a trickier style like a James DeGale, an Olympic gold medalist, or a guy who's green or more green, even though he's a champion now, so that green, you can't really say green anymore because he had his championship fight. But relatively, I mean, I seen Gilberto Ramirez in Denver and I wasn't impressed at all, and he looked good against Arthur Abrams. So he's still a young developing talent, where James DeGale, he had before he fought Andre Dirrell, he had maybe like 8 wins. I mean, he was undefeated in like 8 fights. He had 6 knockouts. He's more comfortable with his style, I guess you could say. He beat Andre Dirrell, competitive fight. Then he beat Lucien Bute. Now he's fighting again on Showtime. So I just feel he's more of a developed fighter. He knows his style. He knows his attributes. Gilberto Ramirez is still like working out the kinks with his style, because I seen an improvement from when I seen him live in Denver when I covered his fight to his Arthur Abrams fight. So I think they would rather just catch a guy like Ramirez now while he's still learning and he's a champion. So to say if Triple G beats him, like, hey, we beat a champion at 168, and drop back down. That's just my opinion. Next question, Danny D. Do you think Little G will retire with his greatest win being Rubio's leftovers Lemieux? I mean, it's tough telling, but the thing I like about boxing is things are heating up. There's a lot of pressure on certain guys like Canelo. Triple G's putting a ton. Him and his team, Abel Sanchez, putting a ton of pressure on Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya. And also on Triple G and his team. There's a lot of pressure. And I think Tom Loeffler, Abel Sanchez, and Triple G, they know what they have with Gennady Golovkin. And I think they realize that people are growing restless of seeing Triple G fight guys like Dominic Wade. Even though it's a mandatory, you could say, oh, we fulfilled, but there's only so many mandatories. It's no different than Kell Brook. I said the same criticism for Kell Brook. After Sean Porter, he has not fought someone the caliber of Sean Porter, or even close. Diego Chavez, he was supposed to fight, and I'm like, okay, that's better. I at least give Diego Chavez a banger boxer slash, you know what I mean, tough Argentine with power. I give him more of a shot than I would ever give Jojo Dan, Kevin Bezier, Frankie Gavin, and Casey and Jojo, all these people that Kell Brook was fighting. So it's the same criticism, right? Triple G, yeah, you're fighting mandatory. You fought a mandatory in Dominic Wade, but you've seen what happened. It was like not even competitive. I think Wade landed like 4 punches of note, and it wasn't even that nothing special. And then he got bombed out and got blasted out of there and destroyed. So I think the pressure for everybody in that little immediate circle is growing, because people at age 34, they want to see Golovkin fight somebody real. You know what I mean? Rubio had been knocked out, I think, twice by the time Golovkin got to him years later. He had already lost to Chavez Jr. You know what I mean? People want to see Golovkin, and I know they're trying to a degree, but if you can't get those people, instead of just talking about the people you can't get, what about the people you can get? Like Gilberto Ramirez, who Bob Arum, it's on record. We talked to Tom Loeffler. They said Arum wants to make the fight. He was trying to negotiate it. Tom Loeffler just told me this the other day when we were talking to him. Also guys like ERISLANDY Lara. So I mean, there's guys that are avoiding him. Billy Joe Saunders, I think, wants no part. Danny Jacobs, I'm not sure if he wants to fight Triple G. So Canelo, I don't think he wants to fight Triple G. So again, there's a handful of guys that don't want to fight Triple G, or he's too high risk, low reward, or whatever. But there's also guys who have at least stated. So maybe explore some of those options, because again, people are growing restless of seeing the Dominic Wade no resistance type of one-sided beatdowns. Charles Jackson, next question. Sup, Ego? If you put my question in your video, put some respect. Man, don't tangle and twist it. Put some respect on it. Don't be fucking up my name on my question in my Birdman's voice. laugh out loud. Now, if you guys seen The Breakfast Show, you'll know what this whole respect thing is about that you guys keep seeing in the comment section. If not, Google it. Why is it that Lil G can fight low-level competition and get praise, but when Ward fights better competition, they don't put no respect on his name? I mean, you already know. It comes with territory. A lot of double standards in boxing. There's a lot of racial tension and just different things that happen in the sport of boxing. I don't even know what it is. Like, they say, oh, I like Triple G because he's humble. He's not a trash talker. Neither is Andre Ward. He doesn't really talk trash. He doesn't get in there and be like, your mother, you know what I mean? Your mama, you a bitch, and man, fuck you, this and that, and filth, flooring, and filth. He's not doing all that. He's a man of God, and he's very family oriented. He's articulate, well-spoken, things like that, and they still hate him. He's undefeated, and they still hate him. He stops Paul Smith, they still hate him. He moves up a division, which Triple G hasn't done yet, and he's been fighting there the last 10 plus years, right? And he moves up, knocks down a mandatory for Kovalev and Sullivan Barrera. They still hate him. Who has the same trainer as Triple G? They still hate him. So you already know, double standards come with the sport of boxing. And like I said in the last response, people are growing restless. You guys can keep trying to skirt around the issue. The people, I like Golovkin. I like what he brings to the table. I think he has a high ceiling, but that ceiling and potential is never going to be realized until we see him fight somebody of a certain caliber. Carl Froch, anybody like that. You can say Froch ducked, whatever. I don't care who the person is. It just has to be a person with momentum, with attributes that can offset or potentially offset what Golovkin does well. And that's just the bottom line because the Stone Cold said so. Next question, Brick Owens. What do you think of the outcome of Crawford versus Postal will be? Now, I told you guys I normally don't answer fights that are like made or being made. I don't normally answer in the Monday Mail Days prediction questions because if anything, I like to do separate prediction videos. But I would favor Crawford in that particular fight. I just think he has more tools. He can be more aggressive when need be. They're both good boxers. They're near each other in terms of height and probably reach. I have to do the look up to see exactly their reach and exact measurements, but I just think Crawford has a bit more tools. He has amateur experience and he knows when to be aggressive and he knows when to box. Postal to me is a great fighter, but he's mostly just a boxer, right? And he can get you out of there if you're not well conditioned and stuff like that. But I think Crawford has more pop and just a bit more of everything, more oomph, if you will. So that's why I would favor in that fight. Next question. Oh, American History X. That's a good movie though. Cone Hybrid. Canelo versus Triple G. Who wins in your opinion? Ego. Triple G. I got Canelo. He is faster, better defense, better counter puncher, etc. I would favor Gennady Golovkin at 160. I don't know what weight you're talking about because Team Triple G says they're not doing anything other than 160. Canelo's trying to drag him to 155. If you drag him to 155, I think that makes it more competitive because I think that's not as comfortable for Gennady Golovkin to make. But if it's at the full 160, I think Gennady Golovkin would beat Canelo. And it's a pissing contest, really. You know what I mean? In terms of the weight. Golovkin's like, oh, I want to fight at this weight. I'm the interim. I'm next in line. Canelo's like, no, I'm the A side. Come to 155. So it kind of depends on what weight you're talking about. But if it's at the full 160, I would clearly favor Gennady Golovkin. But like I said earlier, the thing is this. Despite what any of my predictions are, I still always want to see the fight. Triple G versus Lara. I told you I would favor Triple G in that fight. And a lot of people, some people say, oh, you hate Triple G. I'm like, why am I picking Triple G to beat guys like Canelo, beat guys like ERISLANDY Lara? These are respected names in the sport. I'm basing it off of kind of potential in the stylistic matchup, but he still has to prove it to me. You know what I mean? Canelo's a live dog in there. I'm not saying Canelo's a chump, and I don't do that. I don't have to exaggerate and lie and say, oh, Canelo's getting blasted in the first round or the first second. That's what some of y'all do in the comment section, have these unrealistic ass predictions and forecasts of what's going to happen. I don't have to do that. I really respect the sport of boxing. I break it down, and it's never personal. It's always business. I care about the stylistic matchup. In Canelo versus Triple G, stylistically, I think that favors Gennady Golovkin because he's taller, he has more experience at the full 160, he clearly has power and hits like a mule, and he's better with cutting off the ring. I think he's lighter on his feet, better balanced than Canelo. Canelo has slow feet, but it's an interesting fight. Canelo's tough, never been knocked down or stopped, and he has deceptively fast hands that could keep Triple G honest. So it's a fight I would want to see, but based on technique and the accuracy and the delivery, the body shots, and the resistance, because Triple G looks like he has a good chin also, I would favor Gennady Golovkin. And that's, I mean, that's just as simple to put it. But I still got to see it. I never would, like, I would never hate on a fight or try to cock block a fight, no homo, just because I think I know who's going to win, because this is boxing. There's been times I've been wrong. Next question is Bradley Pearson. Yo, Ego, keep up the great work. I'm a money supporter. Glad to see my money has been well spent. Thank you. For everyone that put in any donations, big or small, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get out more, travel more. I'm trying to get some site maintenance. I'm trying to get new writers. I'm trying to get videographers, editors. We're really moving. I'm like really trying to bring boxing back. And this all started from a microphone and a voice. And I'm trying to expand, do different things. And really those donations help to, they just help the mission. They just help the cause. Anything big or small, and it keeps things afloat, because I'm not partnered with a network. I don't have endorsers. Everything is funded solely by me. Like, even when I go to little stuff that's near, when I go to interview Troy King, he's out in Oakland. That's about a 35-minute plus a toll bridge. So gas, every single time I interview Troy King, it's a $5 toll to get back home. You know what I'm saying? So this definitely isn't free, and it's done off of passion and desire to give something back to the sport of boxing. So I appreciate that. And your question, rank the 147-pound division 1 through 5 in your opinion. Do you think something similar to the Super 6 tournament is possible for that division? Hashtag new media. Super 6, I think that was kind of a once in a great while type of thing. Not that it can't happen, but it's just you have talented fighters in a Cold War. So I think that's going to prohibit. It just so happened with Andre Ward, Carl Froch, they all had a working deal where they were able to be on Showtime. But now, how are you going to have a Super 6 without Pacquiao if he decides to keep fighting? You know what I mean? He's one of the best welterweights. So your question, the top 5, that's really hard. This is just my opinion based on the skill set and what I see. I'm not even going to put it in order. I'm just going to tell you who the best guys are, because there's a lot of different variables. Because I put Errol Spence, but he hasn't fought. You know what I mean? He just fought Chris Algieri. So the best players at 147, excluding Mayweather and Pacquiao: Errol Spence Jr., Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and maybe Danny Garcia, I would say. Something like that. And it's pretty close. My top 5 would be pretty close to that order. But the thing, like Errol Spence versus Kell Brook, I don't know who would get that #1 slot until they face each other, which is a fight that looks like it may happen. You know what I mean? I'd have to see certain things, because like I said, Kell Brook, he's regressed. Ever since Sean Porter, he hasn't fought anyone as good as Sean Porter. And then we have Porter Thurman coming out, so that'll easily decipher who's better between that. So to actually rank them, I have to see a little bit more. Same thing with Errol Spence Jr. Phenomenal fighter, but he just beat Chris Algieri. That's a good step in the right direction. I got to see more of that. Keep fighting the guys like Diego Chavez, Tim Brad, whoever, you know what I mean, your mandatory, the Russian undefeated kid in the Eliminator, things like that. The Panamarov, or whatever his name is. And yeah, then I'll be able to isolate and have a better ranking. And really, I don't even like doing pound for pound lists because it's so subjective, but that's just my opinion. I forgot to mark this question. Superman Hopkins, big fan of your work, Ego. You and the hashtag new media, keeping them honest. That's what new media is all about. No longer is it cool or fashionable just to blurt out random bullshit in boxing. Now you got to back it up and support your claims. I treat this like a court case. And if any of these dudes, not any of them, but a lot of these people who cover boxing or have YouTube channels or write boxing articles, if this was the court of law, their case would be thrown out and a lot of them would be held in contempt because they say dumb shit, right? And they don't even support it. I'm okay if someone says Pacquiao's better than Mayweather. I don't care. These guys aren't paying me. I'm not getting paid directly from Mayweather or directly from Pacquiao. I'm not on their payroll. So I don't care. But if we're talking real life boxing, you got to explain to me why you would put Pacquiao, who lost to Floyd, over him with an intelligent rebuttal. Not, oh, Pacquiao's the best of this era because you're a bitch, haha. That's stupid. So this new media, like you said, is keeping them honest, and I promise you that. You have to support what you're saying, not just that dumb flow-mo, packed hard talk. I don't do all that. You notice I never even, if I respond to people in comment section, I don't even use the terminology flow-mo and packed hard. I don't, because I'm a grown-ass man. I don't have time for the little preschool recess games. That's just me. Anyway, what's your take on Max Kellerman saying Floyd isn't the fighter Pacquiao is? I made a video about it, so make sure you guys check it out. It's a 40-minute, and I gave you 40 minutes of my life and my time to explain what I thought about that. And it was basically called Why Floyd Mayweather is a Better Fighter of This Era. So make sure you check that out. It has probably over 20,000 views already, and I kind of broke it down. I'm not gonna, for time's sake, I'm not gonna go over everything I said. I personally find such proclamations foolish at best and flat out ignorant at worst. Keep up the great work. I was born ready. Yeah, I mean, it is. There's no way you can justify it using the terms, in my opinion, that Max Kellerman had. Like, oh, he moved up more weight divisions. That's true. He moved up 3 more weight divisions, but he's also been stopped 3 times. 3 more times than Floyd. Floyd's never been stopped. Floyd has never even officially hit the canvas. You can say, oh, it's glove touch versus Zab Judah, but it did not get ruled a knockdown. Therefore, despite what you or me think, he hasn't been technically knocked down. You can say, oh, Castillo was close. It doesn't matter because he won the fight. Facts are facts. Just like Bradley has a win over Pacquiao. Do I think that is accurate? No. I told you I thought Pacquiao won that particular fight. But we have to go off of what we pretty much seen. Yeah, there's robberies and stuff. Oh, his glove. Bottom line, have you ever seen Floyd's butt on the canvas? No. Pause. So, you know what I'm saying? Pacquiao's been knocked down more than once. He's been knocked out brutally by Marquez. He's been knocked out by a body shot. He lost to Floyd and looked shitty and landed a career low amount of punches. I mean, what are we talking about? How is he the best of the era? Because he moved up in weight and he got stopped in those lower weight divisions, and he got stopped later by a guy he fought 3 other times and did pretty well against. You know what I mean? Had competitive fights with. He was winning the round he won. So when we're talking about pound for pound, I think of resume, I think of skill set, and to me, what does that say about your skill set when you are clearly winning the last round 5 and round 6, and you're winning up to the last second, the last 10 seconds of the round, and then you get knocked out because you get too greedy and you underestimated a guy you fought 3 times prior in Juan Manuel Marquez. You forgot how good of a counterpuncher he is or the power that he has, and you run into some dumb shit. What does that tell you about his skill set? Not saying Pacquiao's not talented. He does have talent. Not everyone can do that. But why would you underestimate a guy you fought 3 other times? Meanwhile, you look at Floyd Mayweather. He's been hurt by Zab Judah. What does he do? He gets better. He buckles down. It looked like he might have been hurt or had a competitive fight with Miguel Cotto and Maidana. What did he do? He buckled down and got the job done. When he was fighting guys like Shane Mosley, badly hurt twice in round 2, early, when Shane Mosley was fresh off the Margarito victory, where he knocked out a Granite Chin Margarito for cheating, right? He came back to dominate Shane Mosley and win every round. That's not normal. That's an anomaly, right? So we're talking about pound for pound. You have to encompass skill, and when it comes to skill, I don't see how the person who's winning round 5 and 6 and then gets knocked out in a round he was winning, let's say 2 minutes and 50 seconds of, and he gets knocked out in the last 10 seconds amongst being knocked out 2 other times earlier in his career, right? And he got knocked down in that fight. I don't see how you could say that's a higher skill set than a guy who every time he's been hurt by DeMarcus Corley or been hurt by Shane Mosley, he gets better and then makes those adjustments. It doesn't make sense. So I disagree forever with Max Kellerman when it comes to that. Next question. I am the Reaper 911. I love your channel, and it's so nice to have someone who is real when giving the public boxing news. Wish more was like you. Thank you. I'm so tired of, especially nowadays, and I can't even read most boxing news because it seems everyone now is a bum. So if everyone is a bum, who is not a bum in the boxing world now? Yeah, I mean, I don't even get into half of. That's why I'm selective with who I respond to in the comment section. Like occasionally I get lured into some dumb shit, but I don't have time. This is a business for me. This is a brand. This is my full-time job, and a lot of people are just trolling on the internet. That's the thing that's wrong with the internet. Internet gives everybody a voice, and some people don't deserve a voice. You need to be like Ariel from The Little Mermaid and have Ursula reach down your fucking throat and take your voice, because some of you guys just talk rubbish and just dumb stuff in boxing. Everyone's a bum, and certain people like Golovkin could beat Wade. Oh, it was his mandatory, great win. And you know what I mean? The crowd's going wild. And then Ward will fight Sullivan Barrera, who's the IBF mandatory for Sergey Kovalev, and then they'll make it like Sullivan Barrera was the bum. You know what I mean? Who presented more of a threat? Sullivan Barrera at 175, a big, strong, pretty much a knockout artist at light heavyweight, with Ward moving up his first fight at the full light heavyweight, or Triple G, who's clearly touted as the stronger puncher and has a lot of experience at middleweight and is regarded as the best middleweight, fighting a guy that we haven't really heard of. Even Sergey Kovalev said it in this clip.
Golovkin is a great fighter, and his fight tonight is coming up, and we're gonna support him. He's my friend, and right now, Gennady fighting an unknown guy. I didn't hear about this guy at all. Never. I think so. A lot of people didn't hear. But they found him, you know. And undefeated guy has a small intrigue. What this guy will show against Gennady. He's undefeated, but nobody knows where he fought these fights, you know. We'll see tonight. I think so. Gennady making very good fights and amazing shows. But we'll see what will happen. But fight against Canelo.
So as you guys heard, Kovalev said pretty much the same thing. He said, I never even heard of Dominique Wade. I don't know who he is. He said Golovkin puts on good fights, but we don't know who this guy is. And that's coming from an Eastern European, someone who's not too far from Kazakhstan, right? Someone who's trained with Golovkin, someone who says Golovkin is his friend, right? And that's what he's saying. So it's funny when I say stuff, some people say, oh, you hate Golovkin, oh, you're racist. Why is Kovalev saying it? You know what I'm saying? Why are other people, respected industry leaders and trainers, saying the same thing? So Golovkin's a good fighter, but this whole bum thing it gets out of line. Everyone's a bum, and then they celebrate certain people for beating guys who are closer to the definition of bums than other people, and I'll leave it at that. Next question is from Lloyd Mayweather. Ego, do you think Gilberto Ramirez has enough skill to take on Triple G, or should he ignore him and protect his record? I'd never say anybody should ignore somebody and protect their record, and I don't think Gilberto Ramirez has that spirit. I think he wants to fight Triple G. He feels he's a bigger man. I don't know if he has enough skill. I would say I would favor Triple G, even at 68. But again, like the main theme of this video, I've said it probably this is my third, fourth time saying it now. I would never resist a fight that will prove something to me or telling, and that to me, that's a more meaningful fight. Him fighting Gilberto Ramirez is more meaningful than him fighting his mandatory and Dominic Wade, because I've seen Gilberto Ramirez. I've seen him live. I've seen him on the Pacquiao versus Bradley 3 undercard, and he became a champion, and he looked good. When did Dominic Wade become a champion? They're both undefeated, so that's a wash. They both, Dominic Wade and Gilberto Ramirez, both have an undefeated record, but I liked how I seen Gilberto Ramirez versus Arthur Abram. He used some movement. He was boxing. I've seen him stop guys on True TV. So he's also 6'3". Dominic Wade is about Triple G's height. You know what I mean? So Ramirez is clearly bigger. I didn't like how I seen Dominic Wade versus Sam Solomon, a 42-year-old off of a knee injury. You know what I mean? He had a split decision win. So Ramirez, I don't know if he has enough skill, but I would love to see it. And that's just point blank. I would favor Triple G because I've seen more of him, and I like the adjustments he makes. And That's really what it is. Keithan Mathis, Ego, my dog. I feel like Pacquiao, since he became a star, has had the easier path than Mayweather as far as opponents, especially the ones that have shared. For example, Pac fought De La Hoya at 47, a weight Oscar had not made since Arturo Gatti fight, which I think was 7 or 8 years before their fight. And Floyd moved up for the first time to 154 to fight Oscar. Truth. I gave him credit for Ricky Hatton. Then he fought Cotto at another catch weight, and Floyd fought Cotto at 154. He fought Shane Mosley after okay performance, Sergio Mora, though I thought Shane won, but Floyd fought Shane after he punished Antonio Margarito. I can kind of give Pacquiao a pass for the Rios fight because he was coming off the KO loss. Even though Rios lost to Alvarado, Floyd was always facing an opponent coming off a win, and Pacquiao fights Algeria, guy who only fought on HBO once before his fight. Blah, blah, blah. Who do you feel had the tougher schedule? I mean, that goes without saying. Mayweather clearly had a tougher schedule. Like Pacquiao, again, he's a good fighter. Some people are going to get mad, but it is what it is. And to me, there's always there's an element of intrigue because Mayweather has had such decisive performances where he doesn't have to rematch the same guy multiple times. Pacquiao, on the other hand, has fought the same 4 people 12 different fights. So you look at Pacquiao's resume or whatever, he has 60 fights, whatever it is, 60 something fights, and 12 of them were from the same 4 people. So that goes to show you, that tells you something. He fought Barrera more than once, twice. He fought Eric Morales 3 times, Timothy Bradley 3 times, and Juan Manuel Marquez. He fought him 4 times and then got knocked out in the 4th fight. Versus Mayweather, he's had like 2 rematches, Castillo and Maidana, and that was because he didn't like his performances, or there was some criticism on who won the first fight, or they were closer than he liked it. So the same year he fought those guys and showed that it wasn't a fluke, and now no one, you know what I mean, no one can say anything. In the Castillo fight, he had a hurt shoulder. So to me, there's always more of an intrigue. You look at Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri. Who was more of a threat? Chris Algieri, who had a split decision win over Ruslan Provodnikov, where he got knocked down maybe twice in the first round, and like barely held on, showed some grit and toughness, but barely held on for a split decision win. Or Victor Ortiz, who had a fight of the year with Andre Berto, became the first to beat Andre Berto in a competitive fight with power, southpaw, bigger than Mayweather, speed, athleticism. And at that point, a lot of people look after the fact, oh, Collazo, he quit in this fight and quit this fight. After that, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what he did after. I'm talking about when he went into the Floyd fight. He was a young, strong kid with the only time I think he really had quit, like notably, was the Maidana fight. And he had bounced back because he beat Berto, an undefeated fighter that he wasn't favored to beat in a fight of the year. So, I mean, little stuff like that. Even Rios was coming off of a loss where he got hurt in the Alvarado fight. He hurt Alvarado, but then he also got hurt and his legs buckled in that rematch with Alvarado, right? And they were both coming off a loss and they fought. So clearly Mayweather had a tougher schedule. I would love to, he fought Cotto at 144 and Mayweather fought him at 154. A lot of people always, oh, but Pacquiao stopped him. Pacquiao stopped Cotto in the 11th round at a catch weight of 144. After the fight, Cotto immediately moved up to 54. What does that tell you? His body rejected it, and it was probably a struggle for him to have made that weight to begin with, right? So you mean to tell me if Miguel Cotto, he fought Pacquiao in Pacquiao's prime or whatever people want to call it, and he fought him at a catch weight of 144, and he did not stop Cotto until the 11th round, even after Margarito had already stopped him. He did not stop him until the 11th round. Imagine if that particular fight happened 10 pounds heavier at 154, like Floyd fought him. You mean to tell me that you don't think it would at least be a little bit more competitive? Be realistic with yourself. Floyd fought Cotto at the full 154. It wasn't like a catch weight like he fought Canelo at. He fought Cotto at the full 154. Pacquiao fought him at 144 after the Margarito loss. Floyd fought him after he avenged the Margarito loss, which most people believe Margarito probably cheated in the first fight based on how Cotto's face exploded. So Cotto came in with a different level of hunger. I think he was with Pedro Diaz, and he had avenged the first guy that had beat him in his career. So that's a good place to be at mentally, because you felt the guy cheated you, and then you helped with the help of Pacquiao. You bashed his eye in and sent him into retirement, and avenge your first ever career loss. So who fought the stronger Cotto? Cotto, after avenging a loss to a guy he believed cheated at the full 154, or Margarito stopping Cotto, and I think he might have had a fight in between. Then he, after being stopped by Margarito, he fought somebody. Let me look it up, because that's what new media does. Because I know man, this is off the top of my head, and I know what I'm talking about. I know Cotto didn't fight too many people in between losing to Margarito and actually fighting Pacquiao. So let's do the research. So yeah, so he lost to Margarito, fought Michael Jennings, who then he had a tough fight with Josh Clottey. This what I actually thought Clottey might have even won it. It was a split decision. Then Pacquiao fought him, right? Versus when Floyd fought him, he was on a 3 TKO streak. He knocked out Yuri Foreman at 54. He knocked out Ricardo Mayorga, a trash talker, and then he avenged that loss in Antonio Margarito and fought Floyd. So I mean, that tells you who fought the better version of Cotto. Pacquiao fighting Cotto at a catch weight of 144 that he clearly probably had trouble making, because again, after the Pacquiao loss, what did he do when he fought Yuri Foreman? He moved up to super welterweight. He moved up in weight because it was probably hard for him to make. Clearly. Let me know how you guys think I did this week, Monday Mail Day. Try to get through a lot of questions. I will be back. Drop it in the comment section, share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.